Hello and welcome to the weekend edition of National Focus. I'm your presenter, Mervin. Thank you for joining us. Topping the headlines, Dominica joined in celebration of Venezuela's 202nd independence celebrations. Education officials collaborate with CARICOM consultants to discuss TVET and CVQ's construction and work on the Venezuelan-funded coffee processing plant to begin soon. Stay with us for details of the headline stories and others right after the break.
The facts as they are, brought to you every day, only on GIS Channel 7.
Welcome back. Time now for the details of the news. Dominica joined in celebration of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela's observance of its 202nd anniversary of independence on Friday. An official ceremony at the Simon Bolivar Square in Goodwill, attended by Venezuelan citizens and those working on special missions in the country, members of cabinet, the diplomatic corps and other specially invited guests, marked local celebrations. The singing of the national anthem of both countries led off the event. During the ceremony, Venezuela's ambassador, His Excellency Hayden Pirela, and Dominica's acting Prime Minister, Honorable Ambrose George, both laid wreaths alongside the Simon Bolivar monument. Simon Bolivar was the individual who liberated Venezuela over 200 years ago. The Venezuelan ambassador, in addressing the ceremony through an interpreter, thanked deceased Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez for upholding the memory of the great Venezuelan liberator. He says while Venezuela is proud of its achievements since attaining its independence, the country has not been complacent in its pursuits of maintaining its independence through education.
We in Venezuela know that although it has been 202 years since we achieved independence,
aún falta mucho por caminar y recorrer.
there is still a lot to be done.
Porque no se trata de que esté un papel solamente firmado que somos independientes.
It is not only important to have a signed document saying that we are independent.
Se trata que esa independencia la debemos mantener.
We need to maintain this independence.
Y esa independencia se logra
This can only be achieved
formando un pueblo,
by educating our people.
valorando un pueblo,
Make sure we have value
enseñando un
for our
pueblo
people,
a querer a su país.
our people to love their country.
Y nosotros los venezolanos
And we Venezuelans,
queremos a Venezuela.
we do love Venezuela.
The ambassador in his remarks also expressed gratitude to the many Venezuelan nationals currently serving in Dominica in various capacities. A group of Venezuelan Army Corps of Engineers is currently on island to construct the Venezuelan-funded coffee processing plant in 1 Mile Portsmouth.
And when we do migrate to other countries,
No es para invadirlo,
it's not to invade,
simplemente es para ayudar.
it's only to
Y
cooperate.
por eso estamos aquí.
And that's why we are here.
The Venezuelan ambassador assured the Dominican government that the legacy of deceased President Chavez to assist countries like Dominica in its developmental pursuits will continue. The ambassador gave a commitment that the coffee processing plant to be funded by his government will be constructed within the next year.
I am very proud.
Yo recuerdo las palabras del ministro de Agricultura aquí en Dominica,
I remember the words of the minister
que está
for
por allí
Agriculture
presente.
here in Dominica. He is somewhere around.
el ministro Austri,
Minister Austri also.
cuando me decían que no me preocupara, que los legados de Chávez se iban a cumplir.
Not to worry, that they would ensure that Chavez's legacy will
Y
come to
ahí está la
completion.
prueba.
And this is the proof.
La torrefactora de café,
The coffee processing plant
en un año la vamos a tener.
will be ready in 1 year.
Y eso se va a convertir en empleo para Dominica.
And this will create employment for the people of Dominica.
In his remarks, Acting Prime Minister Honorable Ambrose George extended congratulations to the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela on their independence celebrations. Honorable George spoke of Dominica's renewal of commitment to current President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro.
I wish, in the name of the government and people of the Commonwealth of Dominica, to congratulate the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, its government and people, to honor Simon Bolivar, the liberator, to remember President Hugo Chavez, and to renew our support to President Nicolas Maduro. Freedom anywhere is a beacon, men and women everywhere. The liberation of Venezuela on July 5, 1811, has been fueling the struggle for freedom and dignity in Latin America and the Caribbean ever since. And that struggle is as vital today as it ever was. Therefore, I congratulate the Venezuela and the Venezuelans for this important milestone, and thank the Venezuelan government and people for your stellar contribution to the dignity of our region.
The acting Prime Minister ended his remarks by pledging Dominica's full support to the President as he continues the struggle for the total independence and dignity of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. And as the region continues to work towards integration, Dominica has become a priority for assistance. Areas being targeted are the free movement of skills, goods, capital, services, and the right to establishment. In late June, experts from the CARICOM Secretariat and various stakeholders met to officially launch the CARICOM Trade and Competitiveness Project, which aims to simplify the CARICOM single market and economy procedures like acquiring CARICOM skills certificates. In light of this, a consultancy meeting was held on Friday at the conference room of the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. Two CARICOM contracted consultants, Dr. Paulette Donpierre and Clover Barnett of Jamaica, met with officials from the Ministry of Education.
We believe that in order for us to see the region and of course Dominica take off economically, that our people must be well equipped. There is need for retooling of our workforce in order for us to maintain a competitive edge. And this basically is the reason for all that is happening here today.
Dr. Paulette Donpierre says the aim of the meeting is to define Dominica's position and to help build capacity to certify its skilled workers.
The aim is to assure and to ensure that Dominica can award the Caribbean Vocational Qualification. This is the certification that will allow them to move across the region. Now, in terms of Dominica, we want to see how best, how far advanced the TVET Council is. We want to look at training assessors and verifiers. We want to see what the employers are thinking in terms of new and emerging areas. So this trip, this visit is really just to get a better understanding of what is happening in Dominica.
The process to achieve a legislative system for certifying skilled workers has already been completed in a few other regional countries. This consultancy meeting is the first stage before proceeding to train and qualify the recently formed Technical and Vocational Education and Training Council.
We're here to ensure that Dominica is on par with the rest of the region. We don't want to leave anybody behind, and we're asked to make Dominica a priority. The other 9 countries include countries in the OECS, Belize, Suriname. Now, 3 countries have already been granted that status: Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad and Tobago. And recently, Grenada and St. Lucia came on board, so they also have their instruments to award the CVQ. So we're hoping that by the time this project is finished, we would have strengthened the capacity and tooled up and upgraded the TVET Council and the Ministry of Education, so Dominica can also award the CVQ.
According to Minister for Education, Honorable Peter Seja, the success of this project is dependent on all business sectors in society. It says the role of the Ministry of Education is to create an environment to achieve this success.
Well, it is our responsibility as Ministry of Education to really coordinate, to ensure that the legislative framework is put in place, to ensure that a conducive environment is created, and that, as I say, that I refer specifically here to ensuring that at the school level that we have the equipment in place, we have the tools available, that our people can be trained, that our teachers are adequately prepared to deliver, and not just our teachers, but even professionals out there can receive refresher courses, retooling to deliver, in a very, very pointed way that the Ministry of Education can coordinate with other ministries and sectors within the wider society to ensure that we achieve this objective.
The project is expected to be completed within 1 year. Construction work on the Venezuelan-funded coffee processing plant is expected to begin soon. Minister for Agriculture Honorable Matthew Walter told GIS News Friday that the Corps of Army engineers from Venezuela arrived on island this week to commence work on the facility in 1 mile Portsmouth. The facility is expected to have a major impact on the Dominican economy, including employment creation.
We expect that we expect about 400 persons to be employed in this project, either directly or indirectly. We expect to see about 80 farmers, being really involved in coffee production. Certainly now in Dominica, we produce about 20 tons of coffee. And we have a capacity of the plant is about 2,000 tons.
Several actions have been taken by officials of the Ministry of Agriculture to prepare local coffee farmers to improve their yields and to encourage other farmers to get involved in coffee production.
The program involves the rehabilitation of current coffee plantations, as well as the expansion and new coffee plantations. So we are talking about involving about 30 more farmers into the coffee production.
That's in addition to the 18?
No, presently we have 50. Presently we have 50, and we intend to bring in about 30 new farmers. So we expect to see 30 new coffee plantations. And the current plantations, will be rehabilitated or it will be extended.
The recent success of the Grand Bay Primary School at the Grade 6 National Assessment is being highlighted as commendable by Parliamentary Representative for the Grand Bay constituency, Honorable Justina Charles. The Grand Bay Primary School copped the #1 position among 16 primary schools in the Eastern District at this year's Grade 6 National Assessment. Accolades were bestowed upon the Grade 6 students by Mrs. Charles when she attended their school leaving and prize-giving ceremony on Thursday.
I think the graduating class have made us proud in Grand Bay. They've made the school proud, they've made themselves proud, they've made their parents proud. Too often we hear negative things about Grand Bay. Today is a day for us to shine. And to have emerged #1 among 16 schools in the Southern District is commendable, and we must recognize the school for that effort.
The government of Dominica has been providing the resources and infrastructure to ensure a comfortable learning environment for students of the Grand Bay Primary School. Youth Minister and the Parliamentary Representative for that constituency, Honorable Justina Charles, during her address at the Grand Bay Primary School, said government recently made available in excess of $100,000 to improve the school's auditorium.
Government spent in excess of $100,000 to do repairs to the area where we are, the whole auditorium section. In terms of the window repairs, painting, plumbing, electrical, government spent in excess of $100,000 to improve on the whole ambience of the area in which we are.
Mrs. Charles said a fencing project also financed by government in excess of a further $100,000 has made the school environment more secure.
To ensure the security of your children, the teachers, and all those who are using this facility, government also spent in excess of $100,000 to fence the property. And we must recognize all of that.
In related news, school principal Evans James says work on the Granby Primary School's basketball hard court was made possible through funding and material provided by government. Evans told those attending the graduation ceremony that work on the basketball court should be complete in time for the new school year.
When school reopens in September, you will see the completion of the hard court at the back of the school, where our children will play netball and basketball. All these things are happening through the brave efforts of Mrs. Charles.
The Granby Power Rep, Honorable Charles, was instrumental in getting the funds and materials to execute the work on the school's basketball hard court. She is delighted that this project is nearing completion.
As Mr. James said earlier, the hard court for the basketball and rounders should have been completed, and I can tell you Mr. James kept me busy. And I kept Mr. Charles, the account officer in the Ministry of Education, very busy to ensure that we can get the material and to pay the labor. And presently, we are at the stage where we are closing up shop on the project. And as he said, I am hoping that during the summer we can see the completion, because I think everything is in order for the completion of the hard court.
Providing the physical infrastructure is not the only contribution coming from government to the students of the Granby district. Mrs. Charles noted that significant sums have been spent on meeting the transportation costs of students attending the Pierre Charles Secondary School.
I know for Granby we do not get assistance with transportation, but I can tell you, for example, in Tetmon and Dubic, the students who come to Pierre Charles Secondary, government spent in excess of $4,000 on a monthly basis to pay drivers to take the students to school. And we can well appreciate that when one mother has 2 and 3 children to take to school, how much it would cost them on a monthly basis to take their children to school. And that government is doing to ensure that no child stays home because my mother did not have money to pay the bus. And so we are doing that.
And finally, this news time, parliamentary representative for the Granby constituency, Honorable Justina Charles, called on her community to act in a manner so as to allow the most vulnerable to receive school assistance from government. She warned against being selfish, as there are many individuals who genuinely need assistance.
For those of you here and in all the other parts of Dominica, every year government spends money in assisting the deprived or the less fortunate among us with uniforms and school books. And I say less fortunate because all of us cannot get. We must be aware of that. Among us sitting here are some who are less privileged. Some of us can afford to buy the books. Some of us can afford to pay the school fees. But there are some persons who are less fortunate than some of us. And so we must be happy when government might leave you aside for now and assist those among you who cannot meet those expenses. And so we must allow them to get through. If we know somebody in our neighborhood who is challenged in getting uniforms, say to yourself, okay, I will stay back and let me allow you to go forward. We must not be too self-centered. Be each other's keeper. Be of support to one another. And so the door is open, and we are open this year to assist with school books and uniforms and school shoes as usual. But I am saying it will be for a selected set of people who really cannot afford.
Mrs. Charles concluded her remark by stating that government will continue to provide a school transfer grant to less fortunate parents to assist the children in accessing secondary school education. And that's the English segment of the news. We now join McPherson St. Luce for the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, membre parlement pour Granby, Honorable Justina Charles, qui a complimenté étudiant l'école primaire Granby qui fait bon en examination grade 6. Honorable Charles fait ses compliments là pendant l'école là tient une cérémonie de graduation pour ses nègres là qui est allé l'école secondaire Pierre Charles en septembre l'année là. Yon bagay qui était autant significant, c'est à compte Honorable Charles ouvert par Négion, parents à yo, par sa assiste yo, et puis éducation à yo en l'école secondaire.
L'agence là, c'est pour aider ces légions là, les pour faire projection, et maman yo pas ça aider yo pour mener l'argent, pour faire SBA yo, et d'autres projets l'école là camarade yo pour faire. Because nous les savons si ces légions là aller l'école, si gouvernement ka aider ces légions là, et maman ka aider, nous les yo faire tout ça qui possible pour yo faire bien. Because nous savons ces légions ça là, c'est yo nous besoin de mettre ça dire pour faire tout ça pour développer un pays. So nous pour investir en dans ces légions. So ça c'est manière pour moi dire ces légions merci because yo fait bien en common entrance là. Moi savent gouvernement qui paye CXC subjects, so c'est pour ça nous pas mettre ainsi pour CXC subjects because c'est ça qui tape bursary avec scholarship gouvernement qui paye GCE subjects là-bas yo. So nous d'accord ça l'année d'autre côté là maman yo ka dépenser l'argent. So mon candidat d'accord ça qui aide ces légions because yo really fait nous proud because l'école l'a fait bien en 10 ans de l'école là pour qu'on fait tout ça bien avec nous bien content nous taper délégués taper scholarship avec 4 légions qui taper bursary avec yon ti moun qui taper bursary en l'école tête monde so monter les dio mon content ça yo fait avec juste pour encourager yo pour continuer pour faire bien avec pour encourager ces mamans yo savent at least ça c'est une manière at least les gens que ça fait ce petit projet là so monde d'accord ça c'est une manière moi même aspal rep ça aider ces mamans là because moi savent comment hier vont partir dio.
En autre nouvelle, compagnie Petro-Caribe déjà financé plusieurs projets en Dominique. Parole celle-là sorti au manager la place compagnie Salam, M. Ian Pinade.
Tous les jours, il y a des Petro-Caribe qui fait c'est un bon bagage. Ça qui pas une stove, nous avons une stove. So si vous fait si vous cook aller au chaud ou vous mettez charcoal ou bois, vous avez un stove au Petro-Caribe. So these are les bagages là nous avons fait Dominique pour les social programme là. Si vous regardez des petites souffrères Rosalie Link Road, c'est un tracté là. Actuellement si vous allez, Chimay almost ouvert. Eh bien, very soon le transport qui est passé, il y a des voitures qui est passé from Rosalie pour aller à Petite Souffrère. Et bien, tout ça à la Petro-Caribe. C'est où est Portsmouth. Il y a des vieux boats là qui étaient là. Actuellement, tout ça par là. Et puis, il y a des belles. Et puis, tout ça à Petro-Caribe. Et bien, tout ça, Prime Minister Skerrit Fair, là, il signe Petro-Caribe Agreement là en 2005. Et puis, Venezuela. Nous avons célébré 8th anniversary Petro-Caribe là. Nous avons gardé tout ça, nous avons fait depuis nous sign agreement là, et puis 2013. La partie barraque a fait, nous avons 7 staff. Actuellement, nous avons 33. Et puis 4 temporary. So nous avons développé, nous avons grow. Nous commençons et puis diesel. Actuellement, nous avons fait gasoline, nous avons fait LPG, nous avons fait asphalte. So compagnie a grow et puis a développe tous les années.
Département petit entreprise Dominique conduit consultation et puis stakeholders qui concerne police et puis législation pour petit entreprise en Dominique. Ces consultations ça là c'est il faut département là transformer manière petit entreprise qui fonctionner en Dominique. Selon executive director département là Alexander Stevenson, yon ces bagay là qui tape attention, ces affaires draft qui concerne bankruptcy, ça c'est monde qui passe à payer l'argent you prêté et puis législation pour lui. Stevenson aussi fait parole que le département là en process pour délivrer assez en leur activité pour élever petit entreprise et puis business et puis activité ailleurs. Et de you qui conduit consultation tout mon pays là, moi ça là, il faut ça là. Et puis finalement, le gouvernement Dominique ni en politique qui concerne le développement ICT. M. Abraham Durand, c'est officier éducation pour ICT en Dominique.
Le gouvernement a décidé de nous mettre un plan en place pour directer comment pour nous servir ICT en pays, avec comment police par exemple, ça tape moun qui a mal servi par là, qui a servi pour faire crime. C'est pour nous garder comment moun ka fait l'argent hardly. C'est pour obéir les autres lois en pays. Comme ça police a dit, il a directé service ICT en pays avec à protéger la population là, moun qui les servi pour crime avec pour mal tout en tout. Il a aussi directé nous comment pour nous servir, pour nous faire l'argent et pour nous aider l'économie pays.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nous faire le Creole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Ni un bon week-end. Au revoir.
Scary. Everything just shaking and making big creaky noises. Earthquakes, big and small, take place in the Caribbean at least 10 times a year.
The dishes rattling and falling and breaking. Then Vonnie started to scream.
All I could think to do was shout, "Get outside, get out!"
Earthquakes, hazards, take control, reduce your loss. If an earthquake hits, what can you do? Get down, get under an item of furniture like a table. Hold on and stay there until the quake passes. Find out lots more about earthquakes and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from your National Disaster Office and SEDERA.
And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. Friend us on our Facebook page and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Mervin. Thanks for watching.